the first Afrikaners granted refugee status due to arrive in the U.S. The U.S. government has officially granted 54 South Africans, white descendants of mainly Dutch colonizers, refugee status, and they are expected to land in the U.S. on Monday, May 12th. They are the first group of Afrikaners to be accepted by the U.S. after President Trump signed an executive order in February offering them possible resettlement. The Secretary of State and the Secretary of Homeland Security shall take appropriate steps consistent with the law to prioritize humanitarian relief, including admission and resettlement through the United States Refugee Admissions Program for Afrikaners in South Africa who are victims of unjust racial discrimination. They're going to arrive at Dulles on Monday. And then there looks like states that have agreed to take in the South Africans are Alabama, California, Idaho, Michigan, Minnesota, Montana, New York, Nevada, North Carolina, and Iowa, one source said. So maybe I'm stupid and maybe I'm slow, but can anybody please explain to me why we are taking in refugees who are suffering from racial discrimination into this country when this is happening? Army veteran and legal resident Marlon Paris is jailed in Arizona after an ICE ambush despite letters shielding him from deportation. Black veteran. 19-year-old Ximena Cristobal, a 19-year-old who was brought to America at age 4, got pulled over for not using a turn signal. She was shackled and is now in ICE custody for a month. A traffic violation, and she's now in ICE. She doesn't look very white. Or this fucking nonsense yesterday. New video shows close-up of ICE agents slamming the young woman's face into the ground during arrest in a neighborhood raid. I don't have anyone at home. They arrested my mom, my sister, and a 2-month-old baby. I'm gonna let you deduce on what color you believe her skin might be. This yesterday in my home state, ICE is staging a 19th Avenue and Thomas Phoenix. They're in a church parking lot. They were trying to detain people at a food bank. And then this yesterday, why Asian and Mexican immigrants moments away from being deported to Libya never left the U.S. Immigrants were woken up at 2:30 a.m. and boarded on a bus to wait for hours inside a military plane in Texas. They were sent back to solitary confinement. Yeah, these immigrants included people from the Philippines, Vietnam, Laos, and Mexico. They would later learn their attorneys filed an emergency motion after reports that the Trump administration had planned to send them to Libya, a country they have never heard of, been to, been a part of, anything. And then we get the Amerikaners. This is a site. Amerikaners.com is a fast path for whites in South Africa to become refugees who can then become citizens. What color is their skin? So I went over to their Twitter page and I just started going through it, and it is as bad as you think it would be. Right here on March 2nd, there's a tiny microcosm of this happening in South Africa, and it's a beautiful thing to behold. The rise of the Anglo-Saxon on the African continent made possible by Trump is palpable. The white race is waking up from a deep slumber. And it comments like this: no, we are actually all Afrikaners now. Fact is, we are all just European mongrels in 2025 having interbred for generations. Also, President Trump could hardly call us whites in the executive order because the media backlash would have been extreme. All that said, there's the OG Amerikaners that know full well we've done what is necessary to leave this shithole and help our fellow men and their families from safety. We're the quiet, powerful resistance made possible by our beloved President Trump. And then they reposted this just today. Right now, I'm genuinely embarrassed to be an American. That's Brian Krasenstein over on Twitter. And Gunther Eagleman, then leave. Andrea Shea, South Africa can have the Krasenstein brothers in exchange for all the Amerikaners. This is my final offer. I think it's fair. And the Amerikaners, they reposted that. Again, resettlement in America made easy. Join our mailing list. Your heritage. I am an Afrikaans of Dutch, German, Germanic, French descent. I am English of British descent, or I am other. Which category do you think they're going to pick up on first? If you cannot see what is happening, let me open your eyes, okay? President Trump's people will take the next election with ease. For the one after that, all the Amerikaners will be on board as citizens to make it a trifecta. So to recap, if you have brown skin and you are here legally, it doesn't even seem to matter to ICE anymore. But if you are white and you are in South Africa and you want to come here and start a whole brand new life because President Trump and Elon, welcome, right? We are waiting to find out if Kilmar is going to come back to have due process, right? We are taking babies who are breastfeeding off mothers, right off of their chest and just taking them. We are deporting people. We are not showing warrants. We are covering our faces. And it's only for those who don't look like me. But if you look like me, come on in, because the next time you vote, you'll vote fucking MAGA. I need you to wake the fuck up. I need you all to wake the fuck up and see that this is happening. We are going to be taking in 1,000 South African white maggots who are racially oppressed. And yet, every single day we turn on the news, somebody else has been disappeared without due process. Wake up.